A few days ago, I put out a short putting an end to a common misconception about Twilight Princess's development that received more views than I anticipated, so thank you to everyone who watched and shared it. Anyway, as I was finishing up that video, I discovered something that made me second guess myself. Fucking Sakurai! This guy! Oh my God! I love this man for many reasons, but he said something back on his Smash Dojo website 18 years ago that might get him cancelled. Sheik doesn't appear in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, but we based her model on a design that was drafted up during the development of that game. I first saw this blurb in Super Zelda Girl's video about the Sheik topic, so I did a little bit more digging. I asked someone in the Twilight Princess Randomizer Discord to translate the original Japanese text, just in case something got lost in translation back then, and it more or less said the same thing in Japanese. I decided to write a whole comment about this after the video was uploaded, but no one reads comments, so I'm making it into a video. Basically, I said the Brawl devs didn't have insight on the development of Twilight Princess, and the design wasn't actually planned for that game, but instead, just an idea during development. I was more inclined to believe the Hyrule Historia because it had developers who were involved in the writing process and— okay, we need to talk about that fucking book. I decided to read more of it after I put out the video, and something on Ilya's page rubbed me the wrong way. I'd be really curious to know what they were planning with that. Who is I referring to here? And why did they phrase it like they weren't part of the development team? I ran into a similar dilemma when trying to quote the book, as there wasn't a clear writer or writers on the staff page. I sloppily just credited Nintendo as the writer, but even that's not really true. I was curious who actually wrote the book. Turns out, YMCan64 on Reddit got curious 7 years ago and decided to dig into it along with several other topics related to the book. Apparently, no one on this page, other than Eiji Aonuma, who served as the book's supervising editor, was employed at Nintendo at the time, but instead worked for the Nintendo Dream magazine. With such a big staff, it's hard to say who wrote what unless a name is attributed to a quote or it says so at the top. As for the original devs being involved with the writing process, well, that's my fault for making an assumption. I know, I'm guilty of it too. Expect my hour-long apology video next week. Hey guys. The best I could find were Skyward Sword devs being heavily quoted for the first fourth of the book, as they really wanted to push their latest release at the time. For everything else, it seems like some devs were only asked to scout out old artwork if this quote is anything to go off on. So, does this completely discredit my Sheik video? Not really, as there's other circumstantial evidence that points to Sheik not being planned for Twilight Princess. My current conclusion is that Sheik could have been an idea for the game very early on, but not actually considered. As someone who has experimented with game design in the past, I can say there's a lot of ideas that don't even make it past an initial thought or conversation for one reason or another. And I think this Sheik design could have been simply that, an idea. Or maybe it was drawn from Raw and I just wasted another full day or two making this video. Who knows anymore? What I can say for certain is that while it's still a fun insight on game development, written words in Hyrule Historia are something I will be taking with a grain of salt from now on, unless I can find another source or there's a name attributed to the quote. Okay, my next video will be my Zelda blunt rotation, and spoilers, Shad is not invited after what he pulled last time.